43. The story concerning Mahakassapa. Now at that time Venerable Mahakassapa was travelling along the highway from Pava to Kusinara, together with a great community of monks, around 500 monks. Then Venerable Mahakassapa, after descending from the path, sat down at the root of a certain tree. Now at that time a certain Ajivika, while holding a mandara flower from Kusinara, was travelling along the highway to Pava. Venerable Mahakassapa saw that Ajivika approaching from afar, and after seeing him, he said this to the Ajivika, "Do you know our teacher, friend?" "Certainly, friend, I know. Today is 7 days since the final emancipation of the ascetic Gotama. Therefore I am holding this mandara flower." Then those monks who were not free from passion, some throwing up their arms, were weeping, falling down as though cut down, rolling backwards and forwards as though with their feet cut off, they were crying, "Too quickly the gracious one has attained final emancipation. Too quickly the fortunate one has attained final emancipation. Too quickly the visionary in the world has disappeared." But those monks who were free from passion, mindfully, with full awareness, endured, thinking, "Impermanent are all processes. How can it be otherwise?" Now at that time one who had gone forth in old age, named Subhadda, was sitting in that group. Then Subhadda, who had gone forth in old age, said this to those monks, "Enough, monks, do not grieve, do not lament. We are now freed from that troublesome great ascetic saying, 'This is allowable for you, this is not allowable for you.' But now we will do whatever we wish, and we will not do whatever we do not wish." Then Venerable Mahakassapa addressed the monks, saying, "Enough, monks, do not grieve, do not lament. Were you not warned by the Gracious One, monks, when he declared thus, 'There is alteration in, separation from, and changeability in all that is dear and appealing. How can it be otherwise, friends, for that which is obtained, born, become, in process, subject to dissolution? It is not possible to say this, it should not dissolve.'" Now at that time 4 leaders of the Mallas, having washed their heads and put on clean clothes, said, "Let us burn the Gracious One's funeral pyre." But they were not able to burn it. Then the Mallas of Kusinara said this to Venerable Anuruddha, "What is the reason, Venerable Anuruddha? What is the cause why 4 leaders of the Mallas, having washed their heads and put on clean clothes, and saying, 'Let us burn the Gracious One's funeral pyre,' are not able to burn it?" "The divinities have another intention, Vasetas." "But what is the divinity's intention, Reverend Sir?" "The divinity's intention, Vasetas, is, the Venerable Mahakassapa is travelling along the highway from Pava to Kusinara, together with a great community of monks, around 500 monks. The Gracious One's funeral pyre will not burn, while Venerable Mahakassapa has not worshipped the Gracious One's feet with his head." "Let us do according to the divinity's intention, Reverend Sir." Then Venerable Mahakassapa approached Kusinara, and the Mallas' shrine called the Bonded Coronet, and the Gracious One's funeral pyre. And after approaching and arranging his robe on one shoulder, extending his hands in respectful salutation, and circumambulating the funeral pyre 3 times, and uncovering the feet, he worshipped the Gracious One's feet with his head. Also 500 monks, after arranging their robes on one shoulder, extending their hands in respectful salutation, and circumambulating the funeral pyre 3 times, worshipped the Gracious One's feet with their heads. After the Gracious One's feet had been worshipped by Venerable Mahakassapa and by 500 monks, the funeral pyre caught fire by itself. Now while the Gracious One's body was burning, of the outer skin, the inner skin, the flesh, the sinews, the synovial fluid, neither charcoal was evident, nor was the ash of the body left over. Just as while ghee or oil is burning, there is no charcoal and no ash evident, so when the Gracious One's body was burning, of the outer skin, the inner skin, the flesh, the sinews, the synovial fluid, neither charcoal was evident, nor was ash of the body left over. Only 2 of those 500 pairs of clothes were not consumed, that on the inside and that on the outside. When the Gracious One's body was burned, a shower of water appeared in the sky, and the Gracious One's funeral pyre was extinguished. Also, after water rose from a well, the Gracious One's funeral pyre was extinguished. Also, the malas from Kusinara extinguished the Gracious One's funeral pyre with all types of fragrant water. Then the malas of Kusinara, after making an enclosure of spears in the council hall, and surrounding the Gracious One's bodily relics with bows, honoured, respected, revered, and worshipped it with dance, song, music, garlands, and perfumes.